Clifford the Big Red Dog does this weird thing where it has a fight that's choreographed for kids, but edited like it's made for adults. These hyper-quick cuts, like they're from Taken 3 or some sort of modern action film, are too overwhelming for kids. Quick cuts like this are designed to sort of deceive the audience into thinking that things are faster than they are. The audience is always a little step behind and always playing this game of catch-up, trying to figure out what just happened because it's over so fast that they have to figure it out. There's a little bit of a psychological trick inherent in cutting this way, and you don't need to do that with kids. It's already a topic they're not very familiar with. So doing fast movements and fast cuts like this is too much. They just won't follow it. It's tough for adults to follow it like this. So you can do quick cuts like this, but you would need the actors to move more slowly. That way there are quick cuts, but the movements are slow enough the audience that's a young audience can still follow the action. But if there's one thing kids are good at, it's picking up on sincerity and a lack of sincerity. Having quick cuts but the actors not move very fast feels fake. It feels insincere. No one really wants to hit each other or stop the other person if they're moving slowly. So do normal full speed fight scene movements and slower on the cuts. These shots here, for example, are cut very much like you would for adults. You see the weapon and there is only one frame before a hit lands with it. You're starting the shot pretty much at the end of the movement. That's adult cutting, not young audience cutting. With someone who's less familiar with the conventions of an action scene and a fight scene and haven't already seen hundreds and hundreds of fight scenes like you have, you don't need to cut in a way where you deceive them into thinking the fight is fast-paced. As long as it's stuff they're unfamiliar with, it's already fast-paced. And the fact that it's something they're unfamiliar with and people moving at full speed doing stuff like martial artsy, you just don't need this. Starting a shot this close to the hit is like starting a joke right at the punchline and having the audience figure out what the joke was. The younger the audience is, the more they need the context surrounding the hit. They need the setup to the joke, right? You're cutting straight to the punchline. Give them the setup. Allow them to see the setup. Give them a wind-up and then do it full speed. But this is cut for an adult. And finally, don't cut on a complex movement in a fight for kids. What the bad guy does here is neat, and he does this little wraparound and counters the good guy and pins the spatula with his silly wooden spoon, but they cut on it, and it makes it a bit difficult to see what's happening even if you're an adult. But fortunately, as an adult, we've seen this one specific move so many times in movies that we can figure out what's happened. Kids haven't had a lifetime of seeing this cliched move, so they don't know what's happening. When it comes to a complex movement in a fight scene that kids won't be as familiar with, don't cut in the middle of that. You can still use movement to mask your cut, but cut on a movement that is simpler. Allow the complex movement to play out in its entirety so that the younger audience can follow it easily. You could have cut as soon as the weapons clashed and then done the wraparound move and the pin, or you could have had them clash, wrap around, and as the bad guy is pushing the spatula towards the counter, you cut, or you could cut for when it actually hits the counter. Or you could wait until the spatula hits the counter and then the good guy turns his head towards the bad guy with fear in his eyes and you cut on the look on the actor moving their head. But don't cut on a complex movement in a fight for kids. And don't choreograph for kids and then edit it like it's made for adults.